Hello and welcome to this Warcraft replay. Hopefully this one will work, and we even have an observer. It's really unfortunate I can't stream, otherwise I would show you the struggles I have to go through to actually get replays working. Just a couple minutes ago I was trying to get a replay to work. It was working, but yeah, for 10 minutes the players sat on their first farm and did nothing with it. And then I realized that the replay was glitched, so yeah. Hopefully this one will work. We have Romantic spawning in as the orange human player on the bottom left. He will be facing off against ZDR, the blue orc player on the top left. So both players are from China, and this is a Chinese tournament, of course, from the Phoenix Cup, the same cup that I casted Nicker versus ZDR from. Yes, I am very much scraping the barrel here, as I have absolutely no replays to work with. There are a couple reasons to that. Number one, it's WCA. WCA just finished and the results came out. Of course, you could have watched the live stream that was wonderfully done by Back to Warcraft, Remo Demo, and Neo. And number two, like, it's China. China is not that great with public replays anyway, so it's very much a struggle. It seems like it will be an Archmage versus Blade Master, I assume, from ZDR. It is slightly late, but the hero timings are not that significant. I have finally decided on after 3 years of casting, maybe 4. I don't know how long I'd be casting for. Yeah, unless it is a tavern hero, hero timings are not that great of a deal. Rock Golem camp will be taken out by Romantic. Of course, Twisted Meadows is the map, so it is going to favor humans slightly, since they can obviously open with this and pick up such great items as the Flute of Accuracy on the Archmage. So 10% additional attack damage for those ranged units. I don't think the Rock Golem is of high tier enough to drop the battle drums, but I could be wrong. I believe that is for the Warlords and Ogre Lords there. Blade Master is going immediately for some harassment, picking up to 2 peasants so far from Romantic, so pretty nicely done there, especially since he has no sort of ramping item for himself, such as the claws or circlet. In fact, he hasn't even started with the circlet before that early harassment. He will go straight into an Overseer camp, as well. Maybe he's gonna try his luck picking up maybe another circlet, or maybe even a pair of claws. Yeah, tier 2 has started for our orc player, but Romantic may be going for an expand attempt. We will see. Of course, it's a little too early to tell, but so far I assume it is going to be an expand, as well. Romantic is he's moving out his militia. That's all I could say, really. But of course that could mean he's just gonna go for another creep camp, or I guess he is gonna go tick into keep. Okay, he kinda juked me there. I'm not gonna say I fell for that really hard. I think it was pretty much justified on my confused state, I would say. Words are failing to get into my mouth, or at least out of my mouth. We're gonna have Romantic steal at least 2 of those very easy green creep camps. He will be harassed by the Blade Master, but apparently the Blade Master is not going to bother with the Archmage anymore. He does have Claws of Attack +6, thankfully, so the time he invested on that Overseer camp did pay off. We'll see if the Blade Master can get into an astronomically uncounterable beast. So far he will pick up a footman for himself as well. Hero is already level 2, so he's in a fairly good position right now. Blade Masters do struggle to get that level level 2 early on, of course, harassment doesn't go your way or something of that nature, then, you know, it's very understandable. Romantic, on the other hand, he is tiering up to tier 2. This will obviously mean less of, you know, less in terms of number of production buildings. I assume so. It's probably just going to be double Arcane Sanctum. It could be one Sanctum, one Blacksmith, but yeah, time will tell. Stronghold will be completed and we should have the standard stuff for ZDR. Of course, ZDR has been like described as an orc that tends to go on off on a tangent in terms of build order, but I guess like there's no real big circumstance for that, so I assume he's just gonna go Bestiary Spirit Lodge here. I don't think anything warrants you know, out of norm play, but we shall see. The Blade Master gets himself the second claws of attack and gets a decent amount of damage. I was gonna say almost a surround, but yeah, I guess you can't really surround with 3 units. The four units are minimum when it comes to surrounding a hero. Of course the sheep was the perpetrator, but he did move aside. Early attack to try and delay the bestiary here. Of course it is going to give free experience over to the Blade Master, who is very close to that level 3, and that level 3 can be a little dangerous when it comes to just, you know, thinking about the late game as a human player. The Blade Master definitely is a late game powerhouse, and the more levels he has, I mean, like, the more powerful he gets. Windwalk Strike, although I do say it's not that great of a power spike when you level it up. You know, getting that higher critical strike with the Windwalk Strike can actually add up. And TP Scroll was burnt by the Archmage, and we could have, or we did just have ZDR go for the snipe there. Very nicely done for the Blade Master. A little bit of a mistake from Romantic. He probably should have teleported within his Town Hall. It was very, very likely that the Blade Master was going to chase. I mean, it was very obvious, you know, where the Archmage will be. There's only one base to TP2, so I'm very surprised that actually happened. Yikes, ZDR almost lost himself the Shadowhunter as well, but thankfully he did micro just in time. Picking up the Cloak of Shadows and the Scroll of the Beast. Two very mediocre items. Maybe the scroll is a lot more valuable, but yeah, the cloak maybe not so much. We'd have an elemental being brought over to snipe down one of those orc bars, and that is going to, you know, contribute on its way to a very good position for the human player. It's delaying as much as possible. The raiders can be very, very beneficial, especially since we are just gonna go for double Arcane Sanctums, no Blacksmith whatsoever, so nothing to really deal with those Spirit Walkers. Of course, we do have the Arcane Vault, so we can have Spellbreakers whenever Romantic wants. And it seems like we are having a bit of possible tower play here from Romantic. He did bring over a couple of peasants. I'm pretty sure he brought them over to place a couple of towers instead of actually using them as militia fault soldiers. So here we go, tower play immediately, and I mean ZDR could potentially counteract this. I mean, he should have a couple of raiders out in the field already. He has one, okay. Blade Master is nearly level 4, that's getting a little dangerous. I mean, like a 10-minute level 5 Blade Master would be extremely quick. Of course, that is like 2 levels above, but still, it can be that. Blade Master is probably going to focus fire. The Archmage Speed Scroll will be used. Hex combo as well. The Archmage did use a health potion, and he will be forced to go back a little bit, backpedaling. Healing Wave will be tossed out as the Raider will eventually get sniped off. Peons being brought over to try and deal with that Arcane Tower, but sadly the Arcane Tower has been completed. Can't really deal with a full tower with pretty much like all those peasants and a full tower. Mountain King is halfway there to level 2. Of course the Stormbolts have been pretty good so far, able to take down the only Raider of ZDR. But yeah, even though most of those units are slowed, there's not really much damage on Romantic's side to deal with that. He has no spellbreakers to actually bring forth the damage, and yeah, slow is just basically an inevitability, as the Blade Master can still dish out a lot of damage regardless. So in my opinion, Romantic should maybe just wait until he has a good number of spellbreakers, because sorceresses, unlike Druids of Talons, they don't deal that much damage because they don't have Fairy Fire to handle anything with. The Druids of Talons are good because Fairy Fire reduces armor. Sorcerers, on the other hand, don't have that luxury, therefore they can't deal as much damage as a Druid of Talon can. Troll Warlord will be taken out, level 2 on the Mountain King, and he will get +6 strength with that giant belt. Pretty good for him. Of course, a lot more health is always welcomed. Sometimes players just sell the item because they prefer the gold immediately, but we'll see what Romantic goes for. I mean, he is in a bit of a pickle here. Like, it's not really an ideal situation for a human player to be in. No spellbreakers whatsoever, unable to finish off your Orc opponent, and now the Orc opponent has, you know, a full 50 supply army. That's not... yeah, it's not good news for him, and especially since he is going to start another camp, his Mountain King is going to join the fight with half health, at least. Yeah, Romantic should have... I mean, he could have just started his TP channel now instead of risking losing those precious infrastructure buildings. If he doesn't TP now, I don't see how he can actually come back from this. Okay, he's gonna TP now, but he is maybe gonna lose himself an Altar of Kings and maybe his third farm. He is gonna lose the farm. He does have a Spellbreaker out, but I don't know how worthwhile that was. He didn't even finish off the camp. Very questionable decision making from our human player here. And it seems like ZDR is going to return the favor. He's going to place down his own towers and Voodoo Lounge, and let's see how well he can actually manage this. I mean, he does have the units. I think he could have done well without the towers, honestly. He has so many actual frontline and, you know, decent amount of damage to back that up. But regardless, just want a clean win from here on out, and ZDR could potentially get that. Watchtower number 1 is completed, number 2 is nearing completion as well. Romantic, on the other hand, I think losing those farms really underhanded him. I don't see any way for him to actually come back from this. The Mountain King is not at a relevant level, neither is the March Mage. And we only have like one Spellbreaker. I don't see how ZDR could lose this, honestly. Even if he loses his army, his towers will finish up and clean up. So yeah, really disappointing game, honestly. I was expecting a lot more, but yeah, it was just one really bad decision from Romantic that costed him the game. Of course, that's not saying that if Romantic chose to TP back, maybe he could have won. I mean, he still was at a supply disadvantage. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe if he hired up all those mercenaries from that camp, he would have maybe stood a chance. But yeah, he just focused on farming instead of defending the base. GG from Romantic, and that will be game for ZDR. So it is a best of 3, so there will be game 2 at least. We'll see if it goes to a full 3-game series.